is a Fox 4 News Alert.
Pardon the interruption. Steve Noviello here in the Fox 4 newsroom. We wanted to break in and give you a live television update to the streaming coverage we've been providing online and on Fox Local. This is breaking news out of Dallas County. Dallas ISD now confirming that Wilmer-Hutchins High School has been secured. This after police responded to a reported shooting there about 1 o'clock today. You can see from the pictures on your screen there is a lot to talk about. We want to get right to the ground where Stephen Dial is standing by. What can you tell us?
Almost to the date where a shooting happened on campus, where a student brought a gun, it passed through the bag check, and it made its way in on campus, and an incident happened. We are still waiting for information as to how this shooting transpired. I'm going to step out of the shot so that you can see what's going on. We're on the football stadium end of the campus, so the back end of the campus, but what you're looking at right now is the front of the campus. Of course, this is still an active scene, but Dallas ISD about 10 minutes ago tweeted that the school itself has been secured. What does that mean? In an active shooter situation, it wouldn't be secure because they would be still checking off boxes to make sure that every room is safe. So Dallas ISD has deemed the campus secure. Now, we don't know who the shooter is, if the shooter was a student, and if the shooter is in custody. Those are all things that we are trying to learn. We're going to pan to the left so you can see parents walking up. Where we are is the football stadium. That is where students are being held. Some parents are already making their way over here to be reunited with their students. The latest information from Dallas ISD is that they will announce where a reunification center is. I will tell you, some parents have already left with their students from the football stadium. So we're waiting to see if Dallas ISD will announce a different reunification location. So we're going to start to pan to the right where the football stadium is. That is where students were in the stands, and I saw them get up about a minute ago, so I don't know if those students are being lined up to move somewhere else. You see an EMS there in front of the football stadium. Our photographer, John Gannon, noticed about 5 or so minutes ago that there was a gurney brought from the back end of campus to this area where you see the EMS is. The person in the gurney was fully stabilized, but that EMS has not driven away. So I would hope that means that it's not a life-threatening situation because they are still here, but someone is on a gurney and has been loaded into that EMS. The only information we have right now, Steve, is that sources confirmed to Fox 4 that a 17-year-old male was shot in the leg. We don't know their condition. We don't know who the shooter is. We don't have a shooter description, and we don't know if the shooter is a student. And again, like I said, I was standing right out here this time last year for a similar incident here on this campus where a gun made its way into the school. This school and multiple Dallas ISD high schools have a metal detection device or system set up to stop things like this. That gun made its told to urge people not to come to campus. The latest news that you mentioned from Dallas ISD was a reunification location would be announced, and so we're awaiting that information. But I mean, officers are clearly letting parents walk this way, so some people are.
I'm assuming that that metal detection and backpack system is still part of campus protocol here. Do you know that?
Say your last part again. I'm hearing a little mixed minus, guys, in the booth.
It's okay.
Say your question one more time.
I'm curious if we know, I'm assuming that nothing has changed as far as whether or not this school does have metal detection and backpack protocols in place.
This school does have a metal detection process in place. Now, things may have changed or evolved, seeing as there was an incident this time last year where a gun made its way in, but we are waiting to see the latest information from Dallas ISD. Of course, it's a fluid situation. We're kind of sometimes the last to find out things.
Sure.
But we are waiting for more information.
All right, and we can't be the first to pass this information along to folks. Dallas ISD just announcing parents and guardians can now reunify with their students. As Stephen Dial suggested, this may be the case. It is, in fact, at Eagle Stadium. That's 5220 Langdon Road. Please, again, you must bring a photo ID. That is how you will be matched with the appropriate student. Again, the district saying we understand this is a difficult time. We ask for your patience. They do have counselors on site and available to anybody who may need those resources. Stephen Dial, I know you'll be there collecting information for us. We'll check back in with you a little bit later on. Meantime, I want to go to Lori Brown, who was also on the scene. Lori, what's your vantage point?
Steve, we're here in front of Wilmer-Hutchins High School, and you can see just a huge, massive police presence. Dallas Fire Rescue is also here on hand. But as this unfolds, we're still awaiting official information about exactly what happened, where the shooter is at this time. The only information that I have is from a source who says that the student was a 17-year-old male shot in the lower leg. We also spoke with a mother who has two students here. She was reunited with her kids and very thankful that they are okay. Obviously, they were very shaken and unnerved by this whole situation. And here is what she had to say just a little bit ago.
I'm thinking about taking them out and putting them in homeschool. Because it's something, I can't keep going through this as a parent. I'm telling you, it's very frightening to ever think about losing your child and your kids. It's very, I mean, this is terrible. But they're over there now, thank God they're standing, but my heart goes out to the parents that had to deal with this tragedy today.
Dallas ISD has said that parents can reunify with their students at the stadium. They will need to have a photo ID on time, and they do say that counselors are on hand to talk with students. Steve.
So this obviously is understandably a very nervous situation, not only for students, but for parents, the entire community, really. Again, we were talking with Stephen Dial that it's almost a year to the day that we broke into programming to talk about a different shooting at Wilmer-Hutchins High School. At this point, though, I know that we're still learning exactly what happened here. Do we even know if the shooting was inside the secured campus or it was outside? Do we have any information there yet?
Well, the mom that we spoke with said that her kids were saying that it happened inside. We are still awaiting for official information, though. The district and police have still not put out any information about that. So clearly a concern for parents, and they do remember the previous shooting. The mom that we spoke with said that she, at this moment in time, feels like she would rather take her students out and homeschool them because of these very stressful situations happening here. Yeah, for sure. Of course, you want to do something that where you can at least guarantee the safety of your own child. Again, Lori Brown and Stephen Dial, thank you both for us. If you're just tuning in right now, we're updating you to breaking news we've been following for the last hour and a half on Fox Local and on our online platform. You are looking live at pictures courtesy of Sky 4. This is Wilmer-Hutchins High School, where police have responded to at least one shot at the high school. We're being told it's a 17-year-old male who was shot in the lower leg. As Stephen Dial mentioned, he did see somebody brought out of the school on a gurney. The fact that the EMS did not race away with that person is probably good news. We can assume that whatever injuries are being treated can be treated right there on campus and may perhaps not be life-threatening. We are being told that right now there are counselors on hand as the reunification process gets underway. So the school has been secured. That means the scene is complete. The whatever activity was happening is now over. You're looking live at pictures of Eagle Stadium. That is where parents are
are being told they can now go to retrieve their students. Again, please do not go to the high school. Do not try and get into the campus. They're asking you to go to the stadium, which of course is just adjacent to that portion of the campus. Very important. You will absolutely need a photo ID so that those officials on hand can confirm that you are there to pick up the appropriate student and can check you off that list. Again, breaking news, Dallas County. This is Wilmer-Hutchins High School, where just after 1 o'clock, police responded to a reported shooting there. We can confirm that a 17-year-old male has been injured, shot in the calf, in the lower leg, and has been, we think, being treated on site, and perhaps will be transported if that indeed needs to happen. We want to remind you that we are following this breaking news right now, and we'll bring you updates as they happen, both on Fox Local and at fox4news.com. For now, we do want to return you to our regularly scheduled programming. Okay, we're being told that we are expecting perhaps new information, so we want to make sure that we stay here with you to bring you the very latest here of a very fluid situation. This happening right now at Wilmer-Hutchins. This is in Dallas County, the high school there. For many of you who are tuning in and having a bit of deja vu, yes, it was about a year ago when there was a different shooting at this campus. We can tell you from our reporters on the scene there that remember at the time there was a question of whether or not the safety protocols or the clear backpack policy or the metal detectors were all in place. At the time, it was revealed that yes, in fact, they were. The student last time that got a gun onto campus had arrived late to school that day. And while the metal detectors were working and the backpack protocols were still in place, unfortunately, the proper safety protocols were not followed. We do not know what the situation is this time around. We do know that the metal detectors are still on campus. Stephen Dial has been following this developing story for us. He is on the ground now. Stephen, go ahead and give me an update.
Steve, I just spoke to a 9th grade student and her godmother. Her godmother came because she was calling her multiple times saying, come to campus. She just described to me hearing a gunshot, and she said, you know, students play in the hallway. So initially some didn't think anything of it. And then she said they heard at least one other loud gunshot noise. She said they hid under their teacher's desk. I don't know how many students were in the room, but this is the reality that we're in, right? She's a 9th grade student, and she knew about the shooting that happened around this time last year, and she said to experience it is something she didn't think that would happen, even though this happened last year. I'm gonna step out of the shot so you can see what's going on at the football stadium. That is a reunification location that parents have been picking up people. We talked about minutes ago, I don't want to put an exact time on it, someone on a gurney was put into that EMS. I would assume it's not the person who was shot because we have video earlier of an EMS leaving with a police officer with them from about an hour ago. What sources have told us is a 17-year-old male was shot in the leg. We don't know that 17-year-old's condition. We don't know if they are looking for a shooter, who the shooter is, their description of the shooter, or if the shooter is a student at the school. I mentioned this time last year because it's timely. This time last year I was standing out here and a student was able to get a gun in their book bag and through the security process that's set up here on campus, and that was an incident. And now this time. So the godmother, Steve, was telling me, you know, this is just the sad reality in Texas and in the country about incidents happening on campus. And, you know, she's thankful of information being spread and the police response. But, you know, people are tired of these types of things happening. So we're hoping to get more information about if a suspect is in custody or if they're looking for a suspect, what is the description of that suspect so that we can bring it to you, the viewers watching us.
Stephen, unfortunately, you know, it bears saying we have had so many of these instances, certainly during the course of covering news for North Texas, that there's a lot to compare it to here. As I'm looking at the pictures behind you, I have to say the scene seems relatively calm. People don't seem very frantic. Let's call it the administrative part of the process really seems to be well underway here. Talk to me about that.
Yes, and that was the first thing that I noticed when we got here. The second our live shot got up, yes, you see the flashing lights. Yes, you may hear an officer's engine zoom by us, but things are calm, and that automatically lets you know that at the very least, the school is secured, and that's the information, the first real official statement that Dallas ISD put out about now 30 minutes ago, saying that the high school is secured. That lets you know multiple things. One, that at the very least, inside the building, they're not searching for a shooter. That does not mean the suspect is not at large, but that also does not mean the suspect is in custody. But the school is secured. Now we know that the reunification location is the football stadium behind me, which is also on campus. Typically, if there is still an active scene, the reunification is not going to be steps away from where that active scene is. They would be moved off campus. Students are here on campus. Those student numbers are dwindling. I haven't looked at Sky 4 video, so I don't know how many students are actually on the field, but there were a number of students in the bleachers. Those students have since gotten up. And again, parents have been let in. If you are a parent watching this, Dallas ISD is urging you to bring a photo ID so that the process of you getting your child will be smooth. You see some parents walking away right now. But yeah, Steve, things are calm, and that's a good thing, but still a lot of unanswered questions.
Stephen, I hate to ask you a question that I know you might not know the answer to, so forgive me in advance here. Do we know, in fact, at this point that there are two separate people, that one is the victim and one is the shooter? I mean, is it possible that this is a person who had a gun at school and it went off and he accidentally shot himself, or are police actually looking for somebody?
Right, and that's the million-dollar question. I mean, sources confirmed that a student was shot. We don't know if, like you mentioned, it could have been an accidental discharge. But the point is, how did a gun get into the school? So that's the big question. And then there's a little bit of precedent in this because this time last year, a student was able to get a gun in the school in a book bag or in a bag. And so those are the things that we're trying to answer.
All right, I understand that you spoke to some folks a little bit earlier. I'm going to let you get that together. I want to go back to Lori Brown now while I let you gather some more information. Again, we have team coverage here of breaking news. This is happening in Dallas County. You're looking live at pictures courtesy of Sky 4 at Wilmer-Hutchins High School, where police responded to a reported shooting there about 1 o'clock today. We can confirm for you that a 17-year-old male student was shot in the calf. Lori Brown for us right there by campus. What can you update me on?
Steve, we're here in the front of the high school. Parents are being directed over to the stadium. So this part of the school is reserved for all of the emergency personnel, and you can see there are more police cars than you're able to count. There's a couple of fire trucks here as well, and just continue to be a huge response as we are also hearing that the school here is safe. But parents are being directed over to the stadium for the reunification, and a Dallas ISD spokesperson says that they are going to need a state-issued ID to be able to pick up their student. In terms of what actually happened, we're still waiting to find out. Dallas ISD's spokesperson just texted me the information that we've been telling you about the reunification process, about the school being safe, but we're still not hearing about what happened, where it happened, and all I know is from a source who says that there is a 17-year-old student who was shot in the lower leg, and that is all that we know right now. We're also hearing that there was another student who passed out, so that person is fine, was able to be treated, but in terms of the shooting victims, we are hearing that it was one victim. Now, I asked Dallas ISD, can you confirm only one victim, and they're still saying that they can't confirm. And I also asked what happened to the shooter. Is the shooter in custody? Again, the spokesperson said that they cannot confirm that information. So here we are waiting to get some more details from Dallas ISD.
Yeah, they, by the way, have been updating us really via Twitter at this point, trying to get as much information out as they can with people. I know you're in a different spot than Stephen Dial is on campus, but one of the things that we can't help but notice as we look at these pictures is kind of how orderly and calm this process is. Again, we want to really urge people to not go to campus. The ISD is asking folks to head directly to the stadium. Please bring a photo ID. They want to remind people that there are counselors on site. There are counselors available to you and your family if somebody needs to kind of download the day's events, which I'm sure have been very traumatic for folks. What are you experiencing there as kind of the energy around you? It seems, again, we used the phrase, kind of the administrative part of the process at this point.
Right, I agree with your assessment that things are calm and orderly. I was surprised as I arrived as well that I was able to drive directly to the stadium, which was the first location that I went to, and then I was able to get back to where I am now at the front of the school really without problems. The Dallas Police Department is doing a great job of being able to direct people. We did talk to a mom that was able to reunify with 2 of her students, and despite how horrific this situation is and how stressful, she was able to reunite pretty quickly with her 2 kids and be able to start to feel secure, at least in that regard.
Yeah, when we see the pictures, we've got you in a double box right now. When we see the pictures of people kind of mulling about, talking to people, orderly, standing in line, waiting, to collect their students, I'm going to assume. Kind of the good news, if any can be drawn from today's incident here, is that kind of the dangerous part of the situation seems to be under control at this point, seems to have ended. Unfortunately, we are getting a confirmed report of a 17-year-old male, a student that was shot in the lower leg. We do not know at this point if police are searching for a separate gunman, if this perhaps was a student that experienced an accidental discharge. These are all, of course, questions that we hope to be able to answer for you in the next hour as we continue to bring this breaking news, not only here on TV, but of course on Fox Local and on our streaming channel and website as well. I do want to get back to Stephen Dial. I know, again, a lot of activity there with parents and kids. I understand you were able to talk with a student a little bit earlier. Stephen?
Yeah, Steve, we spoke to a 9th grader, and she was kind of talking about the real reality of, let's talk about the elephant in the room. A shooting happened on campus this time last year when she wasn't a student here, and now in her first year in high school, she's talking about experiencing a shooting. Take a listen at part of our conversation.
My teacher, she was going over our work, and we heard a gunshot. And at first I was trying to process it because usually they have little they smack, they're around the halls and they play around. So I was processing it until it went off again, and it was faster this time. So that's when me and my classmates, we got up and we went behind the teacher's desk. And I was making sure my classmates were okay, and then we went into the storage room and we had waited there until we got escorted out.
It's just a sad reality of what students are unfortunately used to dealing with nowadays. Again, that was a 9th grade student telling me that she heard about the shooting this time last year and now living through a shooting this time this year. Her godmother picked her up. Her godmother told me that she was calling her multiple times, and so she just drove to campus to pick her up. The reunification site is off to my right, my left, at the football stadium, where parents are lined up, and also for the first time I'm seeing school buses lined up. So the part of the process, this is something that school districts train for, unfortunately, and are ready for. And so I'd be interested to see if those school buses are to take the kids whose parents are still allowing them to ride the bus home, because I highly doubt that they're moving the students to any other location. But there are a row of school buses here, parents lined up in front of the stadium. You still see officers' vehicles in front of the school. That's just because officers, 1, are on scene, but 2, also just checking their blocks, making sure to clear every room. Again, the latest information we have, Steve, 17-year-old boy shot in the leg. We don't know his condition. We don't know a shooter's suspect description or anything like that. Dallas ISD sent us an email about 10 minutes ago. In that email was just saying that the campus is secure, all students and staff are safe, and that the reunification site location is now going on.
Stephen, I want to go back to the little girl that you interviewed. A 9th grader, that's, first of all, what an incredibly brave little girl, and really a heartbreaking soundbite. To have this kid think to themselves, you know what, I thought that maybe it was kids playing in the hall, but then I recognized what it was. It came faster, it was loud, I got behind the desk, and the thing that she said that stood out to me so much was, I made sure that my friends were okay. And then we got into the storage closet. The idea that she, A, has that kind of bravery, and then B, is composed enough to share that story with you, less than an hour or 2 after it happens, really speaks volumes to, I hate to say it, how normal this is for these kids.
It is. It is. And I mean, that is just a totally different situation now from the world that, I'm 35. And so, I came up during the, not near the Columbine area and the Newtown shooting, those types of shootings. But now it's more often. Now, some of them may not be as mass casualty as the two things that I named. But the fact that kids train for this and it's second nature to them, and yeah, the innocence in that 9th grader to say, I just thought, kids were playing in the hallway, and then when they hear another sound, and then they snap into action, hiding behind their teacher's desk, and then hiding in a storage closet. It's nothing that we want any student in Texas or in the country, for that matter, to have to deal with, but it's the sad reality of our current state of affairs in this nation. And so we are awaiting more information about, hopefully, is the shooter in custody, and what's the status of the student that sources confirmed to us was shot in the leg.
Stephen, as we're looking at kind of aerials here from Sky 4, we see still a huge police presence. There's obviously an emergency response vehicle presence. There's a bit of a process that has to unfold here to kind of clear the scene, make sure everybody's okay, search the school, make sure everybody's cleared out of there. I know that the ISD has again contacted us to again remind people students and staff at Wilmer-Hutchins High School are safe. The reunification process has begun at Eagle Stadium. Unfortunately, what we're now hearing is that 3 different students have been injured. You're probably hearing it from me for the first time as well, as we stand here talking to each other on live television. So I want to skip that for a moment and talk to you real quick about the reunification process here. Are you able to see from your vantage point, are there lines of people waiting? I mean, what's the scene there like in terms of somebody who says, okay, I've got to get down to the stadium and pick my kid up?
Yeah, we'll pan over now. So what you're looking at is, that everyone that you see in sight are adults standing in line to be reunited with their student. My photographer, John Gannan, saw a staff member with the district holding some type of sign that said parents. That's why the district is asking people to bring a photo ID so they can do their trained checks and balances to just make sure that they're not just giving the student to a random person. And so you see that line, and this is a situation that we experienced in another school district maybe a month or 2 ago that I was on the scene, and they took the students off campus and the parents were lined up. So this is an orderly process that districts unfortunately prepare for, and this is you just seeing it act out in live time. Lori and I talked about how calm things are. One reason why it's calm is because the scene is secure, so that's a big thing. But then 2, now this is just kind of muscle memory. The unfortunate muscle memory that 9th grade girl had, this is the muscle memory that the administrators have to have on this end. So you see the people in line, and then I want John to pan to the right just a little. There are school buses lined up. I'm waiting to get information about that because we know this is the reunification location, so they're not moving certain students off campus. So we're just waiting for information about that. And then you have resources from other areas. Cedar Hill Fire just brought in a truck. All these different agencies working together in connection. I mean, this is a unique area because we're in Hutchins, Wilmer-Hutchins High School, but it's a Dallas ISD school. So you see DFR, you see Wilmer EMS, you see Dallas ISD Police. They're a large school district, so they have their own police department. You see Dallas Police Department. So all these different agencies working in concert for an unfortunate situation, but it's the reality that we live in right now.
All right, Stephen Dalla, I'm going to leave you there. I do want to get over to Lori Brown, who is with Dallas City Council member Tennel Atkins, who has updated the information here. We're being told now, Lori, 3 students injured. What can you tell me?
Yeah, Steve, we're here with Dallas Mayor Pro Tem Tennel Atkins, and he has been able to get a little bit more information than we have. So, Mayor Pro Tem, please tell us what you have heard about what happened so far.
Well, there are 3 students injured right now. It looked like there is not a life-threatening injuries right at the moment. There we know someone from outside came into the building. They're still under investigation. Dallas Independent School District, there are DSD police in charge. We at Dallas Police Department, the state trooper, the Dallas Sheriff Department, the constable, we are the backup in the fire department to fill in the gap. We're here as support.
Okay, what have you heard about how the shooter got into the school?
Yeah, the door will open, someone probably let the student in the door. That's all I know.
Okay, now what about the 3 students? You've heard a little bit about how they're doing. Tell us about that.
To my knowledge, they are not a life-threatening injury so far, and I can't speculate because they have not, anything came from the doctors, from the hospital and said where they are.
Okay, and what about the shooter? What are you hearing about if that person is in custody or not?
I don't think I heard that he may be identified, not for sure. That's something that we had to talk to DPD, Dallas Independent School District police officers to find that out.
As Mayor Pro Tem, what goes through your mind as you were here a year after a previous shooting at this same school?
Well, I just going to the families. I'm worried about the families. I'm going to pray and put their faith in God. Things happen, but still praying, and still we have a great city. We got a great school district. We put the family, that public safety is our number one concern. It's always going to be our number one concern, and just put the faith in God. You know, things is, we are human, but God is the person who look over us.
Looking at this response by DPD, this is a huge emergency response. What goes through your mind about how DPD has handled this situation?
You know, praise go out to DPD, but also don't forget the fire department, but also look at the constable, the sheriff department, the state trooper, all these public safety entities that showed up fast, right on time. Even the helicopters flying above us. So and I can say a praise to them. Thank you to them. Thank you for public safety.
All right, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We appreciate that. And so, fortunately, the school is secure according to the school district, and that reunification process is happening in an orderly way over at the stadium. Right now, I see a lot of school buses that are headed out, so I'm not entirely sure if there are students that are in those buses, if they're changing anything about the reunification process, but so far this is an orderly situation happening here, and we are awaiting more official word about the details of how everything unfolded. Steve.
Lori, I do want to, because I think it bears repeating, so the Mayor Pro Tem suggested that perhaps the shooter was let into the school through an exterior door that somebody may have opened.
That is what he told us. So we clearly are going to be wanting to find out more about that information. Obviously, schools have extremely tight protocol about how people get in and out of schools, and it is supposed to be only through the front door, and there is typically double front doors where it provides that extra layer of security. So it's extremely hard for someone on the outside to get in unless there was a door that was left propped open or someone held the door open for someone, but clearly those are all things that are against protocol.
We are being told now, Lori, and I don't know if you're able to get more information, we have confirmed with Dallas Fire Rescue that now 4 victims have been transported. I know we originally thought it was 1 student, a 17-year-old male, who we can tell you was shot in the calf, in the lower leg. Then Mayor Pro Tem Atkins confirmed it was 3, and now DFR telling us it's 4. The through line here, though, is that none of these reports seem to be accompanied by any language about life-threatening injuries.
Right, and at this point, about 2 hours removed from the shooting, it does seem that we would know if there was a life-threatening injury at this point. So it seems that that is certainly a thing that is very fortunate right now, that we're talking about people that are expected to fully recover.
All right, Lori Brown, we're going to stick with you for just a minute as we kind of head to the top of the hour here. We'll reset in just a moment. Again, we do want to remind you that this coverage of this breaking news situation happening in Dallas County is not only happening here on television, but of course on our streaming channels as well. It is the top of the hour. We do want to reset for you as we follow this breaking news on TV that we've been covering for you, gosh, for the past couple of hours now on Fox Local and on our website. You are looking live at pictures courtesy of Sky 4. There has been a shooting at Wilmer-Hutchins High School in Dallas County. We have been able to confirm that one 17-year-old male student was shot in the calf and the lower leg. DFR is confirming for us that a total of 4 have been transported for treatment of some sort. The call came in around 1 o'clock, and Dallas police had a massive response to the reports of a shooting here at the high school. We do want to remind you this was almost exactly the scene about a year ago, April 26th, I believe, of last year, when there was a different shooting at this same high school. At the time, it was called into question whether or not the safety protocols at the school were really being followed. This is a school that has a clear backpack mandate. This is a school that has a metal detector at the doors to make sure that the kids aren't bringing anything in and out of the building that they shouldn't be. We are being told at the time, we were being told at the time that all of those things were in place. Last time around, the loophole was a student had come to school late and kind of bypassed some of those procedures that should have been in place and unfortunately were not. Mayor Pro Tem Tennel Atkins, you just heard in a live interview toward just before the top of the hour that it's his understanding that the shooter was let into the school when somebody either propped open or left open or voluntarily opened an exterior door and let this person onto campus. For the folks who are watching, thinking, okay, I want to make sure my student is okay, we can tell you this. DISD has confirmed the school is secure. The panic is over. It is now time to reunify with your students. They are asking that you do not go to campus, that instead you head directly to Eagle Stadium. We've been watching parents and guardians and grandparents and godparents line up in a very orderly way to go in. You will need a photo ID to collect your student as the reunification process is underway. We have team coverage of this breaking news event. Stephen Dial has been on the ground for us covering what's going on here. Stephen, the total now, according to DFR, up to 4 victims transported.
Yeah, we have to see what the extent of those injuries are. Councilman Tennel Atkins saying that they're all non-life-threatening. According to him, we know a 17-year-old was shot in the leg, and there are some other injuries. We saw a person being loaded into an EMS that has still yet to drive away over here about an hour ago. I want you to look. These are parents that are actually being let across the campus into that reunification area where the stadium is. The stadium is on campus, so it's not an off-campus site that parents are going to. This is right on the backside of campus. So what you see right now are parents making their way to the stadium, and that's where parents for over an hour have been picking up their kids even before Dallas ISD deemed this an official reunification site. Students were being held in the stadium, sitting in the bleachers until that process, that plan that we talked about, got unfolded as to this is the reunification site. Parents are showing an ID. Now that all these buses are in the way, we can't see the line of parents, but parents are lined up in front of the stadium, showing their ID, and then walking away with their students. We talked about the calm here at the scene. That's primarily because the school is secured. Yes, there are flashing lights and a large law enforcement presence, but the scene is secured. That does not mean that they have the suspect in custody. We do not know who the shooter is, if they are a student. I know Councilman Atkins told Lori that they may have been let in the building, so we don't know their exact connection to this school. A year ago, almost to the day, I was standing in the same spot about a student getting a gun in their bag and making it through the security process and having a shooting on campus. Now, a year later, we have another shooting. We don't know if it's a similar situation, but somehow a weapon made its way into Wilmer-Hutchins High School for a second year in a row.
Yeah, and I misspoke earlier with the date. I believe it was the 12th of April that other shooting happened.
Yes.
It really bears repeating what you mentioned earlier, that the parents in this district, because they just went through this a year ago, knew exactly what the protocol was before the official protocol was even released to the public. They knew to go to Eagle Stadium because, unfortunately, this is a district which has experienced this exact same thing before.
Yeah, I mean, you have a large district, so issues happen in all districts, but it's also bound to pop up again. And unfortunately, it happened at this same school district. So, yeah, I mean, that's the unfortunate reality of what we're dealing with. And then that 9th grader that we talked about moments ago that we talked to, who she heard about the shooting last year, but now experienced one in her first year in high school, describing her hiding behind her teacher's desk and then moving into a storage closet, a 9th grader, because they heard gunshots in their school. And so these are just the reality that we deal with. Now, I will say something that I just noticed. The number of officer vehicles in front of the school have decreased. Again, the school is secure. If it wasn't secure, you wouldn't be seeing all this foot traffic, and we wouldn't be this close to the scene, honestly. So the number of officer vehicles have decreased. There are parents picking up their students at the football stadium.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that's a little bit of behind the scenes that our viewers probably don't realize. If this were an active shooter situation, if this was a continuing situation, we would be at a command post somewhere relatively far away from the school, right, because it wouldn't be safe for us to be there. Certainly you would not see people wandering around chit-chatting with police, going to pick up the kids. I do want to point out a couple of things if there's any good news that we can report out of this. DFR is now telling us that 3 of these victims were transported to Baylor, 1 of them transported to Methodist. We can tell you that all have non-life-threatening injuries. Again, that information is from Dallas Fire Rescue. 3 to Baylor, 1 to Methodist, all of them with non-life-threatening injuries. Stephen, I do want to ask you about not only the police presence, but we've also seen some community leaders who have come out. Obviously, Mayor Pro Tem Atkins was out there. I understand Judge Jenkins was out there. Is that customary for these people to kind of pop up as these things go?
Well, it depends on that person's role, right? Dallas ISD trustee Maxie Johnson, who happens to be running for city council, but he was out here this time last year because this is his area, his district that he's responsible for. I did not see Clay Jenkins last time. That doesn't mean he wasn't here, but the Dallas County judge coming out may be a kind of a rare appearance, but depending on that council member or that elected official's, the area that they cover, I mean, it would behoove them to be in the loop to know what is happening to their constituents, and so that they can also relay the information. But with it happening twice, this time last year and now this year, I think that might have warranted a little more concern from certain elected officials to say, let me come out here myself and try to see what's going on.
The other piece of information we just got from DPD, and again, I hope you can put this into perspective, they've told us they will not be having a news conference with us. That's actually a bit of good news, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we get some details. But again, I forgot how many hours it took for us to have that press conference this time last year for them to get all the information, because what you would hate to do is have a press conference and not be able to answer questions. And I guarantee you there may be some questions they won't be able to answer. I'm trying to see if we're going to toss us some sound. I know we have sound from a person that was in the school, so I don't know if we want to go to that right now.
Okay, hey, you know what? Let me work on that with the folks back here at home. We want to remind folks you're watching breaking news coverage of a shooting at Wilmer-Hutchins High School. We do have much more information than we did when we first came on the air and when we first came online. 3 victims have been transported to Baylor Hospital, 1 transported to Methodist Hospital. That information coming to us from Dallas Fire Rescue. All of them have non-life-threatening injuries. This all started to unfold just after 1 o'clock when Dallas police responded to reports of shots fired on campus. Dallas police, DISD and Dallas police both saying they will not be doing a news conference of any sort right now with us. However, we can pass along the information that they've asked us to update you on. And the most important piece of that is this: the school has been secured. There is no more danger afoot here on campus. And they are asking families to avoid campus. Please do not show up. I know that it's instinctual that you would think, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to pick up my kid at school. Instead, they're asking folks to go to the Reunification Center, which is at Eagle Stadium. I do want to play for you a little bit of sound that we got with a man who was inside the building at the time of the shooting. Take a listen.
I was sitting there at the waiting room when it happened, when the shots went off.
How many shots do you think went off?
About 7.
7. Do
Yes,
you have a
ma'am.
child there, or you were
Yes,
there?
ma'am. My son, Patrick Campos, goes to that school.
What grade is he in?
He's in the 10th grade.
And where is he? Is he
He's
safe?
he's all right. Yeah, I just called him and he's cool. They all got him at I think at the gym or something.
stadium? Is
yes,
that where
the
you guys
stadium.
are
Yes,
headed?
yes. No, I'm heading home because they're not letting our kids go home yet. They're under investigation and they'll call us.
All right, the other voice you're hearing in that is Fox 4's Peyton Yeager. She is on the scene now as well. I believe David Sintendry is there. Again, we have team coverage happening right now as the situation unfolds at Wilmer-Hutchins High School. A lot of questions needing to be answered, and that's about as raw as it gets, folks. I mean, that is the raw video of her asking the questions really in real time, right? You heard that man say he was inside the school. According to his eyewitness account, he heard 7 different gunshots. We're also being told that whoever this shooter was let into school through perhaps an exterior door. That information coming from Mayor Pro Tem Tennel Atkins. Dallas Fire Rescue telling us 4 different people have been transported to the hospital, 3 of them at Baylor, 1 of them at Methodist. We do not know if the 4 includes the shooter at this point or not. But again, we are staying abreast of the breaking news that we're bringing you here. So I'm going to ask the folks in the booth to tell me if who we have to go back to so that we can continue kind of updating information. Sounds like Lori Brown is ready to go.
Steve, we got a lot of information from Mayor Pro Tem Tennel Atkins, who is the one who said that there were multiple victims. It's not clear, though, what their injuries were. He did say that they were non-life-threatening injuries, and we did get from Dallas Fire Rescue the information that there were 4 students transported to 2 different hospitals. Now, we are still awaiting word from Dallas ISD about what type of injuries these students have. And we have only heard from a source about one 17-year-old student who was shot in his lower calf. Mayor Pro Tem Tennel Atkins also told us that the shooter somehow managed to enter through a side door, which is a break in school protocol where everyone is supposed to enter through the front. Everyone has to have a driver's license and a visitor's badge to be able to get in. People are not supposed to hold doors open or prop doors open. So Dallas ISD, though, has not elaborated about that information. We're also still awaiting word about where the shooter is. Dallas ISD has said that the school is safe. And so that leads us to believe that the shooter is either in custody or was one of the students that was taken to the hospital. Dallas Police is deferring to Dallas ISD, saying that they are the lead agency on this situation. So I will give you the information, though, from Tennel Atkins himself. This is a clip from our interview that we had just a little bit ago.
We don't have a serious injury right now, to my knowledge. Pray for the family, pray for the kids, pray for the students, and thank God no one is crucially injured.
Was able to reunify with her 2 students in a pretty smooth process, but they were pretty shaken up about this situation, and it was just a year ago that there was a shooting at this same school. So we will continue to monitor the situation out here. Steve.
All right, Lori Brown, Stephen Dahl, we thank you both for your participation in our breaking news coverage. Again, I want to leave you with some live pictures courtesy of Sky 4 as we wrap up our breaking news coverage of a shooting at Wilmer-Hutchins High School. Again, this story started unfolding around 1 o'clock today when Dallas police responded to reports of shots fired. You can see folks have now lined up at the reunification center. If you are headed to campus, we want to remind you that you are to bring a photo ID in order to collect your student, and that the reunification center is at Eagle Stadium. It is not at the high school. The high school, we are being told, has been secured. We can also confirm for you that DFR is telling us 4 people have been transported, 3 of them to Baylor, 1 to Methodist. We do not know if that includes a shooter, whom, according to Mayor Pro Tem Tennel Atkins, may have been let in purposely through a side or exterior door. We will bring you much more on this when we are back with you at 4 o'clock. For now, we do want to invite you to continue watching our streaming coverage on Fox Local and on our website, fox4news.com.